Yeah. So this is our third session, right? Okay. So in the first class, what we have discussed, we have discussed about introduction of the course and what is the content of the course, and then what we are promising and what we are going to teach, and then we discussed about the roadmap and all, right? And then in the second class, we have discussed about what is JavaScript, and also we have done the installation, right? So like installing Node.js and installing TypeScript. So and also we just executed some basic program. So these are the two classes we have done, right? So today we will get into more details. Okay, so we will start with the actual programming from today onwards. Okay. Now, yeah, let us do this. Let me. Okay, so open the Visual Studio Code. So first, we will see some basic JavaScript. Then we will understand, some basic syntax and all, so that we can explore certain limitations what we have with JavaScript. Then we can also introduce the TypeScript. Okay. Yeah. So let us start writing the actual programming from today. Okay. So in the very first class, what we have discussed is how to write the program and then just how to execute it. Right. So always remember that. So whenever you have to write any program, if you are working with the JavaScript, right? So when you are working with the JavaScript, then what you have to do actually is first you need to create a file inside the project. So the file extension must be JS. So we are going to work with two files. Okay, so one is JS file, and the second one is TS file. And yeah, when we are working with JavaScript, then when we are working with JavaScript, it has to be JavaScript JS extension. Okay, so it has to be JS extension. So JS stands for JavaScript. And if you are working with the TypeScript, then we are going to create a file called TS. TS stands for TypeScript and all. So to start with the TypeScript, then we will have at least three classes. So after three classes or two classes, then we are going to start with TypeScript. So then what are the limitations of JavaScript, and then how TypeScript to overcome that, so that we will explore. But one point that I can tell you guys is the rule: do not give any special characters, or do not give any spaces and all in the file name. So it can be like it has to be either you can give underscore, like so you can give like this. If the file name is too big, then you can give underscore. You can give underscore, or else like okay, so you can simply give as a first name like this, first program, without any. But when you give like this, always try to give the first letter of each word in uppercase. So why I should give like that? Just for readability purpose. Because tomorrow, if today you have created the file, and tomorrow if any new person comes in the project and all, so if you give the namings like this, and then it will be very easy for the people to read out it. So if you start uppercase, if you start with uppercase letter of every word, okay. Now, yeah. So this is very basic. Then let's start with the programming. Okay, so first let's say the very first code that what we will have is console.log, something called console.log. Okay, so console.log. So this is the very first code that what we have written. Ideally, console.log is nothing but okay, print. So this is the command, the print. Okay, so now let me run this code and see how, where this value gets printed, and then how do we run this program. So simple thing that I have given is console.log. So console.log of some value. I'll come back to this value. Okay, so next. Yeah. So to open this terminal, this is normally called as a console. This part is normally called as console. You know how to open the console? So to open the console, if you are using Windows system, then you have to press, right? So you have to press Control and Escape character. Control and Escape character, sorry. Yeah. So you have to press this. Okay. So all both together. So if you press Control and Escape character, then okay, so console will be automatically opened. So if you want to, otherwise what you can do is you can go to View menu. In the View menu, you can also see the console. Okay. So console.log. Now let me run this code and see how to run the code. To run the code, we need to use a command called, first open the console. In the console, you have to give a command called node space. Then you have to give the name of the file. But remember that the file name is not case sensitive here, though you have created it in sentence case like F uppercase and P uppercase and all. But when you're running the program, it is not mandated to give the file name in the same case. So right now I have given as it is. Okay, now we can see that it's printed ABC. But however, you can also ignore the case only for the file names. Node, you can say first program.js. Extension also mandatorily to be provided. So node first program.js. You can see it executed. Now you can see that whatever you have written here, so that value is being printed here. Right. So that means okay, so, whenever you write console.log, when the script is being executed, so whatever the value you have provided, okay, for that log, then that value gets printed, okay, when you're running the code. So where that value gets printed? Inside the console. Console is nothing but, remember, terminal. Technically, we call it as a terminal. Okay. So console.log is used for printing the values. Here, generally log is normally called as a method. What is log here? So what is log? So log is nothing but method in JavaScript. So log is called as a method. So log is a method that is used for printing the value. Okay, na? And what is console? Console is normally like inside the code, console is called as an object, but you may not be able to understand immediately what is meant by object. Okay, so later onwards, you will be able to understand because of, certain dependencies, you may not be able to understand completely what is meant by object. Okay, but as of now, just understand that console is one of the inbuilt object. That means, okay, it is predefined object in JavaScript. Okay, so which is already there in the JavaScript. So console is an object which will be used for interacting with the terminal. Like, just to print the values in the console or read the values from the console and all, then we will be using this, okay, object. Whereas log method is used for printing the value. So console is an object, log is a method. That's what we have here. Okay. Okay. Now, yeah, so if you observe this and I say console.log, then I'm giving a parenthesis brackets and then I'm giving the value here. Okay, and value, how I have given the value within single quote if you observe. Right, so console.log and then value that whatever I wanted to print, I have given in the single quote. Or, okay, so you see that I will give in the double quote also. I'll give in double quote as well. You can see that value has been printed. Right, so value has been printed. So now the value I have given in single quote or the value I have given in double quote. But is it mandated that every value I have to give in a single quote or double quote? Is it mandatory that I have to give the value in double quote or single quote? No, it is not. Okay, so but for some values it is mandatory, some values it is not. Now let's say here I will give some number. I'll say as a 250. Console.log as 250 I'm giving. When I say console.log as 250, so did I give this value in single quote or double quote? No, right? So I have not given the value in single quote or double quote. Right. Okay. So see whether it will work or not. I'm running that command again. Okay. So in the console, when you press up arrow, just okay. So put the cursor in the console. When you press up arrow, what will happen is whatever the commands you executed earlier, those commands will be automatically populated one by one, latest to previous one. So just have to press up arrow. Okay, so keep on pressing up arrow. So your previous commands, whatever you executed earlier, so will be automatically coming. So now don't think that I have not typed node space first program.js. Every time I don't need to type. So what I can do, so once I execute that command, so later on, whenever I want to run that command again, so in the console, I can just press on up arrow. So the previous commands, what we have executed in this system from the terminal, so those commands will one by one populate. So then, okay, so whatever the command that you wanted to rerun, just keep pressing up arrow. The moment that command appears, then stop there and then press the enter. I'm pressing the enter now. And you can see the value has been printed. Right. So now, so if you observe here, this value is not given in double quote or single quote. Okay, so double quote or single quote. I have given that value without any double quote, without any single quote. And that value is, okay, so taken and then working. Right, it's working. So should I give the value always in a single quote or double quote? It is not. But then, okay, so when to give, value in a single quote or double quote, when not to give that. Okay, so single quote or double quote. Now, if I see console.log of ABC, you see that? So console.log of ABC, the value what I'm giving here is ABC. ABC I'm giving now, right? Console.log of ABC I'm giving. Now, if you say console.log of ABC, can you see that there is an error here? Normally, when the red line is displayed, that means that there is an error. Okay, so red line stands for error. Look at that. And even you see that the file name is highlighted in red color. The file name is highlighted in red color, and you can see the one here. One is nothing but the errors, number of errors. Okay, so it will automatically show you like, okay, so this file has one error. Now you can see that, the red line also, when anything is highlighted in red line, that means that, you need to consider that. So there is an error. Now, the moment I have given console.log of ABC, where ABC is without double quote or without single quote, it is giving an error. Now let me try to run this code and see whether this code will work or not. You can see there is an error. We will start understanding those errors, slowly. But okay, so you can't understand each and everything in the beginning itself. So we will understand these errors slowly. Okay, so what is this error and all? I will come back later. But you see, okay, so when I give this value without a double quote or without single quote, then it is throwing an error. But the same value, if I give as a number or anything, now you see that I have given some value and I have not given any double quote or single quote. And you see that, okay, so error is not displayed. Yeah. You see that now the value has been printed. That means the code is working. Why like that? Because, okay, so now when we are giving the value, you need to understand that there will be different types of values in the programs normally. Okay, so we will have different types of values. What are they? Okay, so one is normally we call it as a string value. But probably, this we will discuss in the tomorrow's class in detail. So what is meant by string and, so other things. Okay, there will be something called a number. There will be something called boolean. Okay. So now string, number, boolean. So like that, okay. So we will be having, there will be something called object. We call it as number, boolean, object. Okay. So we have types like this. Now remember that whenever you are writing the value, which is the type of a number, which is the type of a number, or which is the type of a boolean, or which is the type of the object. But object, don't think much about it. You can't, see what is an object right now. Okay, so that we have to understand something called object-oriented programming concepts we need to start with in order to understand object. Okay, so right now, do not think much about it. So whenever you say that, okay, so the value is a number, the value is a boolean, the value is an object. So these things you have to write without single quote or double quote, without quotes, I will tell it as. Okay, so without quotes. Are you able to understand?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay. Now, Boolean means, what is Boolean? So a Boolean means normally you say that true, a Boolean is a true, or Boolean is something called false. Boolean will have only two values, true or false. Now, whenever you give any Boolean value for printing purpose here, or like whenever you are using any Boolean value, like I'm giving as a true. You can see that value has been printed. If it is printing the value, that means, okay, so your program accepted the value that whatever you have given without any error. So it accepted. There is no problem with that. Okay, so now we can see that this value also, I have not given any double quotes or single quote. But object I'm not going to use right now. Okay, now there is another thing called string. Okay, Boolean has to be only true or false, remember, no other value. So Boolean is going to be only true or false, no other value. But string means any value that can be alpha, if you want to write any alpha or any alphanumeric. In fact, okay, so a string can be even numeric also. So if you are writing any alpha, alphanumeric, and special characters, any special characters and all. So all those can be considered as string values. So alpha, alphanumeric, or okay, so special characters, all these things are normally called as a string values and all. Okay, and remember that whenever you are writing the string value, okay, then you must have to write the string value within single quote or double quote. Either you can write in single quote or you can write in double quote. The next topic, okay, so we will start with actual programming. So any programming language, whether it could be like Python, Java, or any programming language, the first topic that always we will be starting with something called variables. In any language, okay, so the first topic always would be started with variables. Now, so what is meant by a variable? Every topic, okay, so I mean every language will be started with variables. Now, what is meant by a variable? Okay, now let's take the scenario here. Same thing. Now I will write multiple console statements. Okay, so just let me know if you don't understand. As I told in the first class, if anything that you don't understand, you should let me know. Okay, always. Now I will write a console.log. Console.log. You can write n number of. So number of console.logs that you write, then these many values get printed. Now I'm writing console.log again. So here, what I do is inside each, I will not give true or false, but I will write like this. Okay, assume that I have to perform arithmetic operations. I hope you guys know what is meant by arithmetic operations, right? Everybody. Like I have to do addition, I have to do subtraction, multiplication, division, right? This is normally called as exponentiation, power value, and there is also called as a modulus. You may not be able to understand the modulus right now. Arithmetic operators is separate concept for us operators is. But I hope you guys know what is meant by addition, subtraction, multiplication, division. Exponentiation means power value. Like when you say 5 exponentiation of 3, this means 5 power of 3. 5 power of 3. So I'm performing arithmetic operators between two values here, 5 into 3. Then I'll say 5 by 3. Then I'll say 5 power 3. Now you see that, okay, so now I have written 5 lines of code. Okay, so addition I have performed, subtraction I have performed, and multiplication I have performed, and division I have performed, and exponentiation, power value. And modulus I have not given. There is one more arithmetic operator called modulus. That's nothing but the remainder. But you might get confused by seeing that. So that's why I am not told that. So anyway, we are operators is separate concept for us. Now, okay, let me run this code again. Let me run this code. Now we can see that, so these values are printed. 5 plus 3, 8. 5 minus 3, 2. And 5 into 3, 15. And 5 by 3, 1.666 something. And then 5 power 3, 5 into 5 into 5, 125. So can you see that these values are printed? Now, okay, so we have used 5 console.log 5 times. Okay, console.log we have used 5 times, then 5 values are printed. Did you guys understand this code, what I have written? Let me know, okay, so if anybody did not understand, so that I can explain. Now let's say a equal to 10, b equal to 20, c equal to a plus b. Okay, so I just wrote semicolon at the end, but not mandated to be. Now, if I print a console.log of c, what will be the value that gets printed? A equal to 10, b equal to 20, c equal to a plus b. What will be the value of c?
A plus B. 30, sir.
10 plus 2. Okay, so now when you say here, c is, okay, yeah, a is 10, b equal to 20, c equal to a plus b. So what is meant by this a plus? What happens when you use a plus b? If this line gets executed, what will happen? Like, you know,
30, sir.
huh? So what
30,
happens
sir.
now here, when you say a, it will bring the value of a here in this formula, and when you say b, then it will bring the value of b that you have assigned earlier. Then it will execute as 10 plus 20, right or wrong? Now let me go ahead with the requirement. Okay, so these values may not be same every time. These values may not be same every time. Okay, so now these values might be changing for every execution, which means that I may need to run this operators with different values every time. Okay, I may need to run these values with different values every time. Got? Okay, so now I have written as 5 and 3. So I'm performing the values between 5 and 3. Now, like, okay, so user comes and says that, no, okay, hey, you have executed that with 5 and 3, right? Now I need to execute that with the 10 and, 5. I need to execute between 10 and 5. What should I do? Say whatever the code you have written, then that code is being executed with 5 and 3, where first value is being 5 and second value is being 3. Now I need to execute between 10 and 5. So what I need to do? What I need to do now? I need to come and change it, in every line, right? Okay, so now I have to come here wherever I have written 5, then I need to go and change. Look at how many times I'm changing here, right? And then wherever I have used 3, change to 5 there. Change to 5, right? So now, like, okay, so you see that same values have written multiple times in different places, right? So like, okay, same value is repeated in multiple lines. Tomorrow when the value is changed, right? So like, you can't say that, my logic will be executed with only one input every time. But user might want to run that program with different inputs every time. So whenever the value gets changed, then you have to go and change that value in every line wherever you have written, right or wrong? Yeah. So it will take a lot of time for us to, understand where the value needs to be changed and then go and update each and every line. It will take a lot of time. So just to update the value itself, it will take a lot of time for us. Tomorrow, in case if you want to run with the different inputs. But now I will change the same thing. Okay, so I will just do a small change here. I will say like this: A equal to 10, B equal to 5. A equal to 10, okay, so B equal to 5. Then, so what I say here is, instead of 10 plus 5, I'll say A plus B. I'll say A minus B. And I'll say A into B. Then I'll say A by B. Since internally it's been integrated with AI, you can see that a few things are automatically being populated. It will use some intelligence based on user. Since I used arithmetic operators only in the previous line, so the AI is guessing here. Okay, so that next line also will be the remaining arithmetic operator. So that's why you see that percentage symbol. That's normally modulus. Okay, and A power B exponentiation. Okay, so now let me run this program and you see that there are some errors. But however, okay, so you can ignore those errors for now. Those are related to the variables and some standards we are missing out. Okay, but still your program will be executed for now. Can you see that the values, it's printed 10 plus 5 and 10 minus 5, 10 into 5, 10 by 5, and 10 power 5. Can you see that these values are being, okay, so I mean printed. So the formulas are being executed. Arithmetic operators are being executed. So now what I did, okay, so instead of directly writing the values in every line, first I'm storing the values in A and B. Now whenever I want to use 10, I'm not writing 10 directly, I'm using A. Whenever I want to use 5, second value, then I'm not writing the value directly, I'm using B. So now whenever I say A plus B here, it automatically taking as 10 plus 5. Whenever I say minus A minus B, 10 minus 5, A into B, 10 into 5, and 10 by 5, and then 10 power 5. Understand that? Okay, so this is only 5 lines of code for you. This is only 5 lines of code. And maybe in reality, you write some hundreds of lines of code. Assume like, okay, so you have got some 100 lines, not just only 5 lines. And assume that you have written some 100 lines. Now in 100 lines, this value, whatever I told you, 5 and 3, right? So like this formula and all those values are used in different lines. Maybe like, somewhere 20th line, 30th line, and 40th line, and 45th line. Like in different places that value has been written. Now, if you have written like that, too many lines, how easy for you to modify the value tomorrow if the value gets changed? Will it be easy? So that's why what we do normally, okay, instead of directly writing the values in the program, first we will be storing the values like this. These are normally what are A and B here. A and B, or you call it as a variables. A and B are normally called as variables here. So why these variables are used for? So these variables are normally used for storing the values. Okay, so the variables in every programming language, remember, this is not just only the JavaScript. This is common across all the languages. In every language that you go with Python, you go with Java in the future and all. So concept is same, but syntax wise only different. Okay, what is the purpose of the variable is same across all the languages. What is the purpose of a variable? To store the value. Why do we need to store? That's a question. To use them in remaining program. then why can't we directly write the value that why we are storing in a variable and then why we are using variable in the program? Because if you directly write the values in the program directly, that value sometimes need to be used in different places, in different lines. A same value need to be reused and all, and the value will be changing every time. Such cases, if you want to run with a different input, I need to go and change in each and every line wherever it's been used. That will take a lot of time. Also, sometimes there is a chance that I might miss out in one or other place to update. So that might lead to failure. So such cases, right? So if you use the variable, it will be very easy to modify the value. And also, if you want to run your program with different values every time, then you can do it very quickly. And also, you can make sure that you are not missing anywhere. Like if that has to be updated in 10 different places, it will automatically update when you're doing execution. Hope it is clear. I'm making it clear for everybody. Let me know if anybody could not understand. Okay, so tomorrow we'll be discussing data types and we will be discussing more on variables and we will be discussing about something called comments in the program. Okay, then immediately we will be starting with something called operators here. Okay, so today I will be stopping with this topic. Okay, please do practice.